I bet you were thinking, the only way to get cut off is to be drunk. But it can also happen if you're just an asshole, and being an asshole may result in you missing your flight. So shall we begin today's story? A guy walks into the bar one late afternoon with a Bluetooth in one ear and a sense of entitlement in his head. Sits down while on the phone, lets out a big huff, and says, "I need a keg of beer. It's been one of those kind of days." So I get him a beer and leave him to his important conversation. And a couple hours pass, and I figure he's on one of the late flights. Then, while on the phone, orders a glass of wine for himself and the woman who just sat down next to him. And that's weird in itself. But then he starts wandering down to the JetBlue desk every so often, and I figure he's just wondering about his flight. And honestly, I didn't really want to know about it because he'd been really weird the rest of the day, and I didn't want to hear any more bad jokes and have him explain it. But finally, he does say that he had missed his flight and he was trying to blame JetBlue, even though he had been on his phone the entire day and probably was just not paying attention. But then, at the end of the night, he asks for a strong drink to get him through the night, so I make him a drink, and as soon as I poured it, one of my managers comes around the corner and tells me that that guy had been cut off earlier. And I'm like, great! I said I had no idea. He hadn't really been drinking that much, and he didn't seem drunk. And then he says, oh no, he wasn't cut off for drinking. He had been at one of the other restaurants going to Oakland, and he was on a very rude, inappropriate, loud conversation in the middle of the restaurant, so much so that families were complaining. So they asked him to take the conversation outside, and instead of just ending the call for later or stepping outside and finishing it, he just leaves the airport entirely for hours. Then comes back in to realize that he had missed his flight, and now he wants JetBlue to pay for his hotel room. So I get him to close out his tab and tell him that I have to close up for the night, but he still sits there on the phone until the cop comes by and tells him that he has to leave. The airport is closing, and even the cop couldn't get him off his phone. But finally, he did leave to try and travel another day. But the moral of the story is, don't be an asshole. Till next time. Cheers.